Good afternoon. So I feel like I'm reminded of my agency days when, in a pitch presentation, after everybody else has had their say, the media guys told up to wind up in 5 minutes. So I will, I think Nagesh talked about retail and a lot of insights from his personal kind of experience. I would like to just say one thing. When modern retail started coming up, everybody said that, this is going to kill all the local retail and small retailers are going to die, etc. What has actually happened, and all of us know that, is that the general trade adapted and they've kind of metamorphosed into something very different. And they fill a very different need today compared to what the modern retail can do. So while modern retail does fill top of kind of a need, particularly in grocery and food space, it's a general trade which does the actually. So a modern retail plays the fill up role, and this one does the top up role. So every time you run out of something, first person you run to is the local baniya rather than, and with service and with other differentiation, which is primarily credit and stuff like that. These guys have been able to survive, not just survive but thrive. So and Nagesh said that modern retail actually is doing seva by losing a lot of money in return for creating this business. So I would first like to start today's topic by just talking about 4 mega trends which have impacted this industry, and which is something which is going to probably continue. It's been there there for like 50 years, 60 years, 100 years. We have seen these trends going on, and maybe they'll continue for another 50, 100 years. The first one is more options, more choice, and fewer intermediaries, which is something which is all around us. And we can see that in every industry that we look at. That I think consumers, if we just look around ourselves, then every single thing that we did, we have today more options and more choices in how you can do that, as well as fewer intermediaries. So basically, I think the ATM card is probably the biggest descriptor of that, where I think we completely liberated and everything is back. All the services that you require are available to you on that one single card. And today it's going to all the services that you need are available on your mobile phone. The second big trend, mega trend that we have seen happening is information translucency. So clearly, I think the world is information is becoming far more freely available across. In the past, I think one of the reasons why people don't give that much respect to the leaders today, as we used to give in the past, is the fact that in those days, leaders seem to be people who kind of, had far more information than the followers, and hence they sounded very visionary and they talked about things that other people had not thought about. But with today's day and age of Google and so you suddenly have a situation where information is very freely available to almost everyone on a click of a button. The third mega trend that we have seen happening is media fragmentation, audience fragmentation, which is clearly dividing audiences into smaller units of specific interests, and there are specific media options available for them. And this has completely changed the landscape and the discourse in terms of how we talk to them. And finally, the fourth mega trend that we have is more messages in less time. So today, I think in our lives, including the interactions that we have with people, with the ads that get kind of thrown at you, communications that come through your mobile, the number of messages that we get keep multiplying by a factor of 10 per century. And we're getting 10 times more messages than, let's say, what our great-grandfather got today. And all this, essentially, I think Srini talked a lot about digital and how that's completely engulfing us from all sides, and how the client discourse has completely changed to digital. We have got 3 real big stalwarts here who have kind of not only had their business, they started their business with advertising, but a lot of them are diversified, as you heard, into a lot of other businesses. And I think the other one thing common between all 3 of them is that they managed to hold on to their client relationships in spite of advent of networks and larger agencies coming and trying to poach their business. So I'm going to actually ask each of them to talk about their story in a few words, in about 7 or 8 minutes, so that will give us an idea of how they have evolved, how they have responded to changes that have all around them. We'll start with Ali. Ali, if you can Ali has a small presentation through which he'll just tell us about his story.